These are the Miyazawas, an ordinary Japanese family, loving and well respected in the community. Mikio Miyazawa worked from home for Interbrand, a large London-based marketing company. His wife Yasuko Miyazawa was a teacher who ran a cram school from the family home. She spent a lot of time with her children. Their daughter Nina was in 2nd grade at public school in Setagaya. She enjoyed soccer, ballet, and practicing the piano. Re attended a public kindergarten in Setagaya. He had a speech impairment which worried the family, so they hired a professional to help him. The Miyazawa family first moved into their house in 1990 and lived right next to Yasuko's mother, sister, and her brother-in-law. They shared a semi-detached house which had one common wall without any internal connection. So to get from one part of the house to the other, you need to go outside and through another door. The family's house is located in Setagaya, Tokyo, in Soshigaya Park, which also contains a skate park. The park has been there for many years and was very popular. Due to this, the city had planned to expand it. This caused most of the families originally living there to move out, leaving just 4 families: the Miyazawas, their relatives, and 2 other families. The skate park caused problems for the family due to loud noises. Mikio even confronted a group of loud teenagers for making too much noise. Because of that, the family planned to move out in March of 2001. But unfortunately, they would never get that chance. On December 31st, 2000 at 11 AM, Yasuko's mother tried calling her daughter's family to make plans for the afternoon. However, there was no ringtone. Worried, she went next door and rang the bell. However, no one answered. There was no movement or noise. So she went inside the house and was immediately confronted by the dead body of Mikio lying at the bottom of the staircase leading up to the 2nd story. He has been stabbed to death. She called out to the family, but heard no replies. When she went upstairs, she discovered the bodies of her daughter Yasuko and granddaughter Nina. Both had been stabbed even more violently than Mikio. In the bedroom next to them, her grandson Rei was laying in his bed, strangled to death. The police investigation found an extraordinary amount of evidence, over 12,000 pieces in total. A lot of it was left by the killer, such as fingerprints, footprints, feces in the bathroom, clothes, and the murder weapon. A sashimi knife the killer bought and a knife from the Miyazawa house, as well as the murderer's blood. It is believed that the 2nd floor window of the bathroom was how the killer entered, as the dust screens in the bathroom have been damaged and the murderer's shoe prints were found on the ground under the window. The branches of trees next to the window were also found to be broken. The general theory is that the killer entered through the bathroom and turned right to go to Rei's room, who was the first in the family to be killed. Mikio, who was in the study room on the 1st floor, probably heard a noise and went up to check it. As the killer exited Rei's room, he sees Mikio and there was an altercation between them on top of the stairs. But eventually, the killer stabs him in the head with a sashimi knife and throws Mikio down the stairs. At this point, his knife broke. He then went on to attack Nina and Yasuko, but retreated because of his broken knife. Yasuko found a first aid kit to treat her daughter's wounds, thinking that the killer gave up. However, this was not the case, and the killer came back from the kitchen with a knife from their own home. He then stabbed both Yasuko and Nina. Based on the contents in their stomach, the time of the family's death was 11:30 PM. It is believed that the criminal lurked around the house for 2 to 10 hours. He treated a wound on his right hand he got during the attack, as plasters with fingerprints were scattered around the house. The perpetrator then consumed 4 bottles of barley tea, melon, and 4 ice cream cups from the family fridge. One ice cream container was found in a bathtub on the 2nd floor, another one on a cushion in the living room, and 2 more were piled up on the side of the computer on the 1st floor. The criminal's salvia was also found in a cup he used to drink tea. The killer used the computer at 1:18 AM and ate ice cream cups as he browsed the internet for 5 minutes and 18 seconds. He visited the site of the Shiki Theater Company, which was bookmarked by Mikio. He attempted to buy tickets to see a show with the family's credit card, but he was unsuccessful. Potentially, he did that to find out if he can use the credit card. There was another recorded activity on the computer in the morning at around 10 AM. But it is possible that this activity was not caused by the killer, but instead by Yasuko's mother when she discovered the crime scene. He also spread out personal documents, diaries, identification cards, utility bills, bank books, and other documents on the dining room table. He had also left feces in the bathroom. The feces was tested and it was discovered that the food he had eaten was a sesame spinach dish with string beans that had been consumed somewhere else. At some point, evidence suggests that the killer has even taken a nap on the couch in the living room. Police found that the tuition fee was stolen and Mikio's and Yasuko's wallets were emptied. Looking at how the killer had spread the documents on the table, one can assume that he was looking for Mikio's credit card information. It is unknown at what time the killer has left the house. One possibility is that he stayed until the next morning and used the computer for about 4 minutes at around 10 AM. Another possibility is that he left the house at night. His fingerprints were run through the Japanese criminal database, but found no match, meaning he seemingly had no prior criminal record. In 2006, the DNA of the criminal was tested again using DNA profiling. This showed that the criminal was probably of mixed race. The maternal DNA indicated that his mother was of European descent, possibly from a South European country near the Mediterranean or Adriatic Sea. The European maternal DNA most likely comes from a distant ancestor from the mother's line, rather than from a fully European mother. His parental DNA indicates a father of East Asian descent. Analysis of his Y chromosome showed the haplogroup OM122, commonly found in DNA of East Asians, appearing in 1 in 4 Koreans, 1 in 10 Chinese, and 1 in 13 Japanese. This led police to believe that the killer's father is more likely to be Korean or Chinese than Japanese. These results also led the Tokyo Metropolitan Police seek assistance from the International Criminal Police Organization, because the killer may not be Japanese or living in Japan. However, Mikyu's documents that were spread all around the house were written in kanji. Kanji is one of the most complex writing systems used in Japan and is taught at an early age. Since the killer was able to read such complicated kanji, it is likely that he has been raised in Japan. The blood from the bandages found on the scene was tested, revealing that the killer was male with blood type A. Toxicology reports suggest that he hasn't taken any drugs and he was a non-smoker. Footprints were found around the house. On the stairs, the footprints switch position halfway up from the wall side to the handward side. This stepping pattern is consistent with military training. He changed his clothing and left his whole outfit folded nicely. The clothing he left was a crusher hat, gloves, a scarf, handkerchiefs, an AirTag jacket, shoes. It is believed that the killer's shoes were manufactured in Korea because the size of his shoes was marked with a Korean size code. They were possibly purchased in South Korea or acquired through individual imports. A raglan shirt. This shirt was extremely interesting because it was only sold in a store called Marufuru. 130 pieces were sold, but only 12 sales could be tracked back. This type of shirt was also very popular among young people at the time. A hip bag. They were sold for 2,900 yen at discount stores in the Kanto region from September 1959 through January 1999. The bag also contained a special kind of sand, one that can be found in the Nevada desert, more specifically near Edwards Air Base, indicating that the suspect might have some sort of military background. The brands, the style of clothes and perfume the killer wore all suggest that he was probably a skateboarder. Interestingly, all clothing items had been washed with hard water, while Japan uses a soft water system. This supports the theory that the perpetrator is of Korean heritage, or he had traveled there since Korea uses a hard water system. To get back to the military stabbing pattern, the sand in a bag, I do not think that this is proof that the suspect has military background. The stabbing pattern could be by accident, and the clothing might be thrifted. Maybe the bag belonged to military personnel before the killer bought it. The way he left the crime scene seems so unprofessional that to me, it doesn't make any sense to limit the search to people with military training. But why were they even killed in the first place? What was the motive behind all of that? Was it a robbery, was it revenge, or was it something completely different? We don't know any specific reason why someone would do this to the Miyazawa family. And still, it happened. So all we can do is theorize how and why someone did this. One theory is that the murderer was a teenager, more specifically a skater that was involved in an argument with Mikyu, who, as witnesses report, complained about the noise level. The clothing definitely fit the profile of a skater. The fact that he didn't smoke or consume any drugs at all strengthens the assumption that the suspect was a teenager. Of course, it takes a mentally unstable person to kill an entire family based on a meaningless argument. But then be it a mentally unstable teenager that broke into the house and killed the family for revenge, and while doing so, looted the house and took some valuable items. I personally think it was a murder for the sake of murder. The killer planned the attack and stalked the family for several days. It was just a sick game for him, and he came up with a narrative. An angry skater that killed and robbed the family. The evidence was placed on purpose to make it look like what the murderer would consider a typical skateboarder, and the house was looted and stuff was thrown around to give the impression of a robbery. I do not think that this was ever planned to be a robbery. I mean, think about it. He brought a sashimi knife, which shows that he was well prepared to kill. Stayed in the house for several hours after the murders, and even ate their ice cream. He also had the opportunity to leave several times, but instead came back to kill the remaining family members. He intentionally looted the house, only to make it look like a robbery. If he really tried to rob them, he could have stolen much more, or entered the house when no one was there. Just like the clothing, it was all just there to mislead or even kind of troll the investigators. I also think that he knew that he was untraceable by his DNA, because he spread it all around the crime scene. The fact that he remained in the house for so long after the murders, left his fecal matter on the toilet and even ate their ice cream, shows that it was all some kind of game to him. And to me, points towards someone with serious mental issues. Why did he choose the Miyazawa family? I don't know, maybe it was random, or maybe it was because there were not many neighbors around. There's really no way to know for sure. It's been over 20 years since the incident and no likely suspect has yet been found. A 20 million yen reward has been offered for anyone who can help the police solve this case, which is now in the hands of Manabu Ida from Tokyo Metropolitan Police, who remains confident that a mysterious crime will be solved. Until then, this house, disconnected from reality and frozen in time, will be the only reminder of what happened to the Miyazawa family on December 30th, 2000. If you have any information that could help the authorities solve the case, you can contact them here. It's also the first link in the description.